How did CNCT come about? Like, how did it form?
It came about, it was established in 2018. I was still in UConn at the time. Ty, who was my roommate at the time, we were talking about what was gonna be the entity or the brand behind the music, because nowadays, like, you can't just have music and push music without some sort of message or brand behind it. So at the time, I felt like Connecticut, and I still do, I felt like Connecticut was very disconnected. I felt like a lot of people in Connecticut do the same thing, but they avoid each other, or they act like they don't see each other doing the same things or pursuing the same things. So I thought to myself, the word Connecticut has the word connect in it. But the irony that we're disconnected. So you take the word connect, and I'm like, how can I make connect look appealing? And then, I just shrunk the word to CNCT, which is the acronyms for connect. And then once I established the CNCT as also being the forefront for the idea of connect, I just started putting the acronyms together, and we came up with challenges never conquer themselves. It stuck, it rung, and then from there, it's fucking with it. So
I was actually a cameraman for them for a little bit. I was recording little 1 minute clips, 1 minute mirages and stuff. And I one day in the basement, it was all four of us around, chilling, doing our thing, playing beats and stuff like that. And usually they the freestyle champs. They usually get together and they do that. And I stepped up one day. I was really nervous about it. I never really, they're natural artists. I kind of had to build my way into that. And it just worked. It just worked one day, and they made me feel really confident about it, and made me sure I was able to keep going and stuff like that. And that's how it happened. I just kind of find my own lane with it.
Or so what you were saying before off camera, when you were asking me, like, how does somebody get into Connect XYZ? So if Ty were here, he could probably harp on it a little bit, but at that time and still now, like, I'm very hesitant on bringing people within the collective, because I've seen multiple times, you bring people in, and the work ethic that they, claim to have or promise to bring to the table, it never really matches up. So I remember, Zach, I knew Zach already through Ty, and, like Ty was telling me, like my boy Zach, at the time Zach was doing a podcast. So, he was like, Zach doing a podcast, I would tap in, and then he was like, Zach, he tried to get into music. Zach would hit me here and there, like, I fuck with this, I fuck with that. And then I remember one day we all chopped it up at Ty crib. We just spoke about things that we were, interested in, what we wanted to do. And, him and Zach said, they wanted to be a part of it, they wanted to be all in on it. And then from there, now we're here.
What's y'all creative process like in terms of writing? Y'all both write, I'm assuming. Right.
Yeah, I mean, we've had tracks where we just
on the spot.
Yeah,
there's been some times it was on the spot.
But I feel like I enjoy the writing process more than just going in and recording something, because writing could, it could have its highs and lows. You could be in a mode where you writing verses, and then you in a mode where, like,
it's really writer's block.
It's really writer's block. Like, you don't know what, like, you gotta go through some life experiences to formulate some lines. So feel me, for me, it's like, I think my best lines come from things that I've either gone through or seen, and obviously, weed, a little bit of weed, sometimes liquor. I'm not really a drinker when it comes to the music process, but definitely weed, and lots of it.
I think to piggyback off that is the life thing though, like experiencing and doing different things. I think that's what makes the writing process a lot easier and better, because we're writing about our lives at the end of the day. Well, I can't speak for every artist in the world, they would be lying, you feel me? But I know I can say as far as us, we live a little life, and it's a way to, it's a form of expression. So if I'm living my life, I'm doing my thing, I get this urge to write it down. I get this urge to reflect. And I feel like some people, I can't speak for Lee, but myself, have issues with formulating our thoughts or our feelings and stuff like that. So having an outlet to do that, I think that's important to me.
As an artist, I'm assuming you put a lot of like your emotions into your music and how you're feeling on a day-to-day. So how do you stay mentally grounded while being that vulnerable?
I think for me, when it comes to once I've written whatever I've gone through and I've recorded it, I've listened to it a couple times. Those those moments that I've written about, those flashbacks that pop up in my mind. I'm reflecting on whatever time period I was in, etc. I think it's a good release for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it's just like, all right, it's good. It's cemented. Now I can give it out to the world and let the world receive it. If they relate to it, cool.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't relate to it, but they understand, cool. But it's like, like once it's recorded and it's out into the world, for me, that's all the grounding I need, because people are either, even if they're not listening, like the people that are listening, you understand where I'm coming from, or you relate to where I'm coming from.
What's something that making music has taught you about yourself, but not as an artist, but like taught you about yourself as a person?
For me personally, I realized that I can move people with words outside of music. So I realized the power that my words may hold in other situations, whether it's family gatherings, whether it's public events. And it's ironic because as much public speaking and performing and all that stuff that dudes do now, like I struggled with all that a lot, especially in college. In college, when I had to take a public speaking class, I couldn't do that. Like I couldn't do that shit. Like I would always forget shit, fumble, stutter. Like I would fidget. Like I could not do all that. But in the back of my mind, like I always knew that if I wanted to do what I'm doing now, I would have to be comfortable speaking in front of people and speaking to people in intimate spaces, large spaces. So I definitely learned that through this, like I could definitely move people with my words, and even if I wasn't doing music, I think I would be a great public speaker.
Mm-hmm. So. Through this process, I think it's important that I've seen that I can process emotions, put it out somewhere, and it can touch someone. I think that's really important. A lot of people don't think they can do that, or hone in on their ability to do that. So I think double down and really being able to articulate my words and put them in a certain way people can smile and jump, or any kind of joy from it. I think that's something I really learned about myself that I didn't even know I had until I started really making music. People you don't know coming up to you saying, hey, you did this for me. And I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was important to learn about myself through this process.